Is the chief of police in Los Angeles a political position? What is happening to the crime statistics and the racial data that's being gathered for the federal consent decree? And are the statistics accurate, or are they being manipulated during an election campaign?
Well, I think what's unfortunate, and you mentioned Prop F, and many people may forget about that, but all the things that people predicted have about come true. The chief's position being appointed by the mayor, you find that you no longer, in my judgment, have the ability to look at the independents and say, when you know crime is up or down, you find it has more of a political issue. We know in monitoring in the last year, the police department claims they've reduced response time. Except when you talk to the public, they say they don't see any difference. But we know that the only difference is they changed the definition of response time. The police department will say we've increased our ability to clear crime. Mm-hmm. We go back and we find they changed the way they clear crime, not that they've cleared more, they just changed the criteria. And so these are things that the politicalization of the police department negatively impacts the community, because now you do not have an ability to say, here's an independent voice called the police chief. Now it's viewed as just part of the political landscape, that you're promoting the mayor's policies, you're promoting the mayor's view. It appears this overwhelming amount of indication as to the airport, the harbor, and Warden Power, that money was misused, city money was used for political purposes, and that particularly at the airport, where demands were made of contractors that they wouldn't get a contract unless they funded or helped fund the anti-secession movement. The contract was for the benefit of the Warden Power. And people speculate, why do you need a contract for public relations for Warden Power when they're a monopoly? The only place you can get Warden Power in the city of L.A. is with Warden Power. Why do they need a $3 million public relations contract? But what happened when Mayor Hahn came in, it immediately shifted the focus not on Warden Power, but he became the client in which they were polishing his image. So in effect, the city was funding a $3 million public relations contract in behalf of the mayor, no longer in behalf of Warden Power. We in our lifetime have never seen both the federal and the county grand jury investigating the mayor's office as it's doing today. They have the U.S. attorney and the district attorney to have indictments coming from the misuse of city funds from Flashman and Hilliard, having the number of deputy mayors and such that resign under investigation, and to have this litany of conflicts with commissioners and fundraising. This is a first for many people, and that's the transition of some of these changes that people thought were going to be beneficial to the city turned out to be negative for the city. And here we are in a political, in my judgment, the most important mayor's race in the United States. And yet we find in Iraq, 67% of the people voted in the middle of a war. In Los Angeles, only 27% of the people voted, and all they had to do is deal with traffic. So the fact that we have desensitized them, we've sent a message that government is not working in their behalf, has caused people to vote with their feet. They just don't show up.
What are we to tell the citizens and the taxpayers when these projects that are massive projects and nothing ever comes of the mishandling of money?
I think that's, again, an issue that causes people to lose respect as it relates to the system, because no one in private business could squander $300 million and just wander away.
Do you believe that the cry for gathering this data and the consent decree may have been a political?
But what is being ignored is that we've had more shootings since the consent decree has been in the last 2 years than we've had in the last 5 years. We've had more discourtesy complaints of officers' relationships with the community in the last several years than we had in the previous 4 or 5 years. We've had things that are going on in the community that appear to be less significant, in my judgment, than they should be, but yet we have people zeroing in that the consent decree is going to solve all of our problems. In my judgment, the only thing that's going to stop racial profiling It's people making a complaint, investigating it, disciplining officers when they do it, or firing them. You're not going to stop racial profiling by surveying the very people that you're accusing of committing the federal civil rights violation. So to believe that officers are out consciously stopping minorities just to stop them, and then ask them to create a survey form to validate that they're committing a violation of civil rights makes no sense.
Full 30-minute programs can be viewed on your local cable channels. Please see our channel guide link on our homepage. You can also purchase DVD, VHS, transcript, or audio cassettes of our full programs. Please click on our media store, also located on our homepage.